Another day here at the Comeback Team Studios. And this is your boy, Beck Lover. And you're watching another episode of the Interesting Time podcast, right here on the podcast, where I gather all the stories from around the world, the most interesting topics, the most interesting conversations. I try to keep you in the know in this crazy world that we live in. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, because you never know what you're going to learn about today. If you're looking for a new fun take, a crazy take on the world that you live in, I'm your guy. Hello, and welcome. Make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can watch this episode on YouTube. You can watch it on Spotify. You can watch it on Rumble. Or you can listen to it anywhere podcasts are available. In any event, it's been an interesting 24 hours since the last drop. I'm going to start with something that happened in my life today. I know we've all heard about these theories that they're spraying things over the sky. Some people call them, chemical trails. And I'm begging you, if you live in the U.S., I don't know about outside the U.S. I've been in about 4 or 5 states in the last couple of months. And I've just noticed there's always these planes zigzagging back and forth, back and forth. They have a stream behind them. And then the stream kind of spreads out as if they're releasing something from the planes above us. I really don't think it is a sea theory anymore. I think they're definitely dropping something on us. And today it couldn't have been more obvious, okay? And I woke up today very emotional because those of you that know me know that I was in the World Trade Center Plaza underneath the buildings on the subway as they were burning 23 years ago today. And like today, it was a beautiful day outside, although I do remember there being some clouds in the sky. Today, there is not a cloud in the sky in New York. If I show you outside right now, it's crystal clear for miles. The visibility is perfect. Like, there's no clouds outside. But then I notice as I'm driving along the Hudson River northbound on the New Jersey side of the Hudson River from Hoboken all the way up to Fort Lee, I start seeing the planes, and then I see the scattering of whatever's coming out of these planes. And it filled the sky for a while. And it just didn't look kosher, man. So I'm going to pull up on my Instagram because I posted this video. You should be following me on Instagram and on Twitter Spaces, X Spaces. I host rooms all the time. I was on till 3 o'clock in the morning last night discussing everything that's going, the debate that Trump had with Harris. And we had about 200-300 people in there. So you're more than welcome. Please follow on Instagram and on X. I do a lot of other content that those of you that follow me on YouTube or for the podcast have no idea about. So I'm going to pull up my Instagram account here. And my Instagram is at BEKLoverNYC. But I'm going to show you, this is footage shot by me at approximately 2 p.m. today, northbound on River Road, heading north along the Hudson River. Now you tell me that this looks kosher to you. New York City or northern New Jersey, just look up at the sky right now. It is not normal. I have been watching these planes shoot their jet streams all over the sky. I'm talking about dozens and dozens of lines, and if you look up at the clouds, it's just not normal. You can just tell this is not normal, my friends. Those are not clouds. I sat here and watched them do this shit. So just look up at the sky right now. If you look at the way this stuff spreads out, it's very creepy looking, man. It almost looks like a X-ray. Look at this shit. Just look at it. That's not normal. Right now, again, look. And then it just spreads all over the sky. Drop a comment. You see that? Do you think whatever this is can be harmful? It's just been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for hours. Multiple planes. And then the sky. So, yeah, I mean, crazy, But that's what was going on out there. Today was a very emotional day for me. For those of you that know, I was down there. I was a 19-year-old boy when those buildings were destroyed and the world was never the same again. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I woke up, and for some reason this year it hit me hard. Some years it's not so bad, but I was very emotional today. I did start having vivid memories, I guess PTSD, of what I saw that day. And I couldn't help it, man. I just broke down today. And I just started thinking about everything that happened, what happened to the world after that. And it's really a pivotal moment in history for the entire world. And millions of people have lost their lives because of what happened on that day. Do you think we know the truth about what happened that day? Those of you that follow my show, what do you think really happened? Is it what we were told? Was it some guys in a cave in a country that we were supposedly supposed to take out their government, only to turn around and hand it back to them 20 years later and pay them millions of dollars? Is that the story I'm supposed to believe and accept? I feel like the more that time passes, the less and less I believe any of it. And to be honest, I really don't. I don't know who did what they did, but I feel like if you can trace the money and what happened in the aftermath and who benefited from it, maybe we can start having some real answers. But I can't sit here and say I fully trust what we were told in the narrative that we were fed. Not with the way things have been handled, not with the way we exited from Afghanistan. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So last night, millions and millions of people around the world turned in for the debate between Trump and Kamala Harris. I was on Twitter X, X Spaces, where we host live audio discussions. Anyone can join. Till about 3 a.m. last night, and the post discussion after the debate. And, in a nutshell, no one really did great there, in my opinion. But if I had to award a winner, I would award Kamala the win. And why would I award Kamala the win? It's not because I endorse her or support her or believe in her. I can't stand her. She reminds me of everything that's wrong with the world. She reminds me of that manager you had when you work for a corporation that's like, yeah, okay, and they're so fake and they're ramming a knife in your back. That's who she reminds me of. Those fake corporate people who usually suck so much booty, kiss so much ass to get where they are, that's the only skill they have. And they're snakes. They throw their coworkers under the bus. They do whatever they can to preserve their job and their position and their authority while they don't care who they backstab or hurt in the process. That's who she reminds me of. So why am I awarding her the victory? Because that should have been the easiest slam dunk for Donald Trump in his presidential run history. And I feel at certain times, especially when they got into the subject of pro-life and choice, I feel like she handed him his ass in that point there. And when I take the perspective as most people have no idea what's really going on and they're just sheep and they're morons, she just sounded better. And then there's the whole scandal with the earring, which if I had to guess, and we were talking about this last night, I think it looks like the fucking earring, the Nova, that can beam sound into your ear, because this was a Kamala we've never really heard. She wasn't stuttering and trying to think. I mean, just go look at her speak everywhere she's ever spoken. And she stutters and she fucking, takes time while she's delaying to think. What do you think? Do you think she was wearing an earpiece? If I had to bet my life, she was. In any event, I feel Donnie Boy dropped the ball, but I guess he didn't think so because the Harris campaign feels so good about this last debate that they're already calling for a second debate less than an hour after Trump's performance is panned by critics. Yes, I know it was 3 against 1. I'm going to get into that. Absolutely the worst moderation in the history of moderation. My 8-year-old son could have done a better job and been more fair and asked harder questions, especially towards Kamala. The bias was obvious. I mean, it really was. That doesn't mean that Trump didn't drop the ball, because she's so horrible that he could have been 100 against 1 trying to defend her. But, you know, like I said, nobody's coming to save us. Donald Trump is not Jesus Christ. Even if he wins this election, it doesn't mean shit when the amount of stench has seeped into our government. It doesn't matter if he wins. No one's coming to save us. The only people that can save us is me and you, my friends. We're in trouble, okay? We are in serious trouble in this country, and it does not matter who wins. And yes, if I had to pick a candidate, I pick Donald Trump. Yes, I pick him. It doesn't mean that I'm like, oh my God, like the Q people who believe he's going to come and there's going to be this massive revelation and the world is going to be saved. They talk about this guy, bro, and probably what's the largest psyop in the history of American politics. Okay? And I'm about as off the fucking reservation as you can get for those of you that have been following me for a long time. Like, wake up already. I can't rule out he's not controlled op at this point. Really, especially after that performance yesterday. Multiple campaign officials working for Vice President Kamala Harris called for a second debate less than an hour after the conclusion of the Democratic nominee's first showdown against former President Donald Trump. That was fun. Let's do it again in October. Harris campaign communications director Brian Fallon wrote on X. Vice President Harris is ready for a second debate. Is Donald Trump? Asked Harris Walt's campaign chair Jen O'Malley Dillon. We certainly want another debate in October, he said, adding the initial conversations about a second debate. That's Michael Tyre. He's the head of Harris's campaign. Trump 78 has already accepted an invitation from NBC News to participate in a September 25th debate that has yet to be confirmed by Harris. The former president also agreed to a September 4th debate on Fox News that was shot as a town hall in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, after Harris balked at the network's invitation. He has already accepted an NBC debate, and a Fox debate is Kamala Harris, who hadn't accepted prior debates. Daniel Alvarez, a senior Trump campaign advisor, told the Post. Trump campaign spokesperson Carolyn Leavitt told the Post that the former president's team would absolutely be interested in an October debate. So let's see if that happens. And that debate was nothing like I thought it would be. I thought Trump would have been way more meticulous, more of a pit bull, really like attack things that are like most important. And I don't think abortion is the most important thing. I just really don't. I think the American people are more worried about how they're going to put food on the table, inflation, how we're going to end this war in the Middle East. And if your voting topic is what's going on in Israel, then you have no candidate. I got a news flash for you. Neither one of them is going to stop what's going on over there. They're going to actually support it, I promise you. And don't forget, Donald Trump did more to advance their causes in a single state solution by putting a de facto recognition with the U.S. Embassy in the heart of Jerusalem. So if that's your voting point, Donald Trump's definitely not your guy, and neither is Kamala. So you have no way out if that's your voting subject. Kamala Harris gives abortion rights advocates the debate answer they've longed for in Philadelphia. This is the Associated Press. When President Joe Biden gave bumbling remarks about abortion on the debate stage this summer, it was widely viewed as a missed opportunity, a failure, even on a powerful and motivating issue for Democrats at the ballot box. The difference was stark then on Tuesday night when Vice President Kamala Harris gave a forceful defense of abortion rights during her presidential debate with Republican Donald Trump. Harris conveyed the dire medical situations women have found themselves in since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the national right to abortion in 2022. Harris quickly placed blame directly on Trump, who recalibrated the Supreme Court to the conservative majority that issued the landmark ruling during his term. Women, Harris told the national audience, have been denied care as a result. You want to talk about this, what people wanted, pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. Oh, God help us, bro. Next article, man. Afghan women, I don't know why this article is here. We'll get to the Afghan women later. The U.S. is sending aid to independent groups in Afghanistan, not the Taliban, supposedly by fact checkers. Not long after the Taliban took control of Afghanistan, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken issued a statement on August 30th explaining that the U.S. would continue to provide aid for the people of Afghanistan. So basically, The Taliban control the entire country. Anything that goes in or out. They have full control and they are tyrants. So you're going to tell me that any aid there doesn't benefit them when they're in power? Because by us helping them feed their people and do good things, it helps them keep their power. So no matter what, yes, we are sending aid to the fucking Taliban. I mean, this story is a joke. They're controlling if women can go outside, like all this stuff, and they're not going to control who gets the aid and how it works. Come on. Come on. Maybe if their people were starving to death, they would revolt against them. The bottom line is, we never went there to take out the Taliban. We were sent there to fucking strengthen them. We left them stronger than we found them 23 years ago today, when I watched 3,000 New Yorkers perish in front of my eyes. And I've had my own issues in the aftermath of that horrific day, that on a day like today where I didn't wake up wanting to cry or feeling, but I did, man. I fucking sobbed like a baby. I called my girl up. And I don't know why it hit me so hard today, but it really did. It hit me harder today than it has in the last few years. And as someone that was in the vicinity, came out from underneath those buildings during that day, to see us sending any aid that can benefit these supposed people that carried this out, and remembering very vividly George Walker Bush going, we're going to take out the Taliban. We're going to take out the Taliban. We're going to take them out my ass. 23 years later, we left them with more weapons than they found them, money, aid, and full control of the country. That means we lost miserably, or we weren't there to win. Which one is it? Maybe we're just there for the opium. Maybe. If you didn't know, last night, Kamala was so amazing that she got Taylor Swift to endorse her. Like, oh my God, like Taylor Swift, who won't even turn on her comments, because I would fucking love to see people's responses to her. So yeah, it was a big deal because Taylor Swift like endorsed Kamala, because I guess they want to help women like take babies out of their stomachs up to, I don't know, maybe birth. I don't know. What do you think? So it was a big deal. But hey, Taylor, why don't you put your comments on? Let's see if it was worth you getting involved in politics. People like Robert De Niro have lost probably half the people that ever supported them. I can't fucking stand Robert De Niro for getting involved in politics. I think it was a very bad judgment on her part, unless she has handlers that had to call in a favor, because I don't see why she would have ever commented one way or the other. But I think she just lost a lot of people that may have liked her, that would have paid for their kids to go to her concerts. It's smart to stay out of politics when you're in entertainment. It just is. Like, you just don't need to get your nose dirty. You just really don't. Dave Portnoy says that Trump was outnumbered, and he ripped ABC News. That's the guy that owns Barstool. And yes, he's right. Moderators took a really simple approach and seemed like they were always attacking Trump and correcting him, but not doing the same to Kamala. It was pretty fucking obvious. It was horribly moderated, and it was an opportunity for ABC News to really like do something amazing, and they did what most of us expected. Fake news. Speaking of the Afghans earlier, Afghan women meet in Albania. Why the fuck are they in my family's homeland? I don't know. Afghan women meet in Albania in an act of defiance against Taliban crackdown. Organizers of International Summit hope to create pressure to reverse laws, including a ban on women speaking in public. More than 130 women have gathered in Albania at an all-Afghan women's summit in an attempt to develop a united voice representing the women and girls of Afghanistan in the fight against the ongoing assault on human rights by the Taliban. So respect to the Albanians for hosting this for women's rights. So, good job, Albania. Kamala Harris is a gun owner. That surprised a lot of us at the debate. Vice President Kamala Harris surprised some viewers during her debate with Donald Trump when she said that she's a gun owner, raising the fact to the counter her Republican opponent's accusations that she wants to confiscate firearms. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners, Harris said, referencing her running mate, We're not taking anybody's guns away. I am a gun owner, and I own a gun for probably the reason a lot of people do, for personal safety. You don't need personal safety when you got the Secret Service. Oh, no, you do. Because if you're like Donald Trump, you can't trust them. I don't know. Maybe you don't trust them either. Is that why you need a gun when you're about to be maybe the most powerful person on earth? You need it for personal safety. Yeah, okay. I find this article to be like a slap in the face, and it just shows you, in my opinion, what I think it's fucking propaganda. Consumer inflation slows to the lowest rate since February 2021. Let's dissect that. So since 2021, the amount that things are inflating has slowed down. That's what that actually means. This is double talk. Because if we compare how much a 50-pound bag of rice or flour or sugar or gas or all of this stuff, gas probably, if we compare these things to 4 years ago, they're almost double. So to say, like, it makes it seem like, oh, it's not as bad anymore. No, it still is. It's just not going up as much for now. So these types of articles piss me off. Pay attention to your bags of chips and products. Look at the ounces. They're shrinking. Same bag, same container, less content. Double the price. It's astronomical what's going on. Today, the Palestinians take an unprecedented seat at the UN General Assembly. The Palestinian delegation joined member states' tables for the first time, a move Israel's UN deputy ambassador branded as a reward for terrorism. Palestinians took a seat among member states for the first time at the UN General Assembly on Tuesday, exercising a new right accorded to the delegation despite not being a full member of the organization. A new delegation was present at the 79th General Assembly. So now they have a seat in the UN as the little pockets of land they have left are evaporating before our eyes. The Biden administration calls IDF's killing of American and West Bank totally unacceptable. This story's been going on for the last couple of days. Joe Biden has described Israel's Defense Force fatal shooting of the Turkish-American protester Aynsur Ezegi as totally unacceptable in his first extensive comments on her death. I love how they have to put the part that she's Turkish, like to try to make it seem like she's really a foreigner. She was an American. It doesn't matter if she was a Russian American, Albanian American, Chinese American. She's American. She lost her life. She lost her life trying to stop the violence from happening in the West Bank, which has nothing to do with Hamas, which has lost almost 1,000 people already, and they've been living under occupation, and it's all documented, and it's horrible, and there's no way to justify their treatment, and I don't give a fuck what you want to say. What's happening to them in the West Bank is wrong. It has nothing to do with October 7th at all, period. Israeli airstrike hits a UN school and homes in Gaza, killing at least 34 people, hospital says, while we were busy watching the debate, I guess. 19 women and children, 34 of them dead. UN safe zone. At least 6 killed as Israeli raids in West Bank continue. Israeli forces killed at least 6 Palestinians in a separate incidents in the occupied West Bank as troops continue an extended operation against militant groups in the territory. The Palestinian Red Crescent said rescue crews had recovered 5 bodies at the site and had transferred them to the hospital. This is being reported by Reuters. Anti-war protesters clash with police outside Australian Arms Convention. Okay, the global outpour to end the conflict in Israel and the Palestinian territories has spread like wildfire throughout the world. And it continues to grow. Like I said earlier, my friends, Israel offers Sinwar safe passage out of Gaza in exchange for hostages. I'm ready to provide safe passage to Sinwar, his family, whoever wants to join him. We want the hostages back. Israel's chief negotiator for hostages and missing persons, Gal Hirsch. Israel's chief negotiator for hostages and missing persons proposed offering Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar safe passage out of Gaza in exchange for the 101 hostages in the terror group's captivity. And my heart goes out to them. Any civilians. But soldiers are open game in a conflict with no keeps. China to strengthen military education at universities while our kids can't even figure out their gender. That's in the news today. The restrictions, when they shut us down in 2019, had alarming impact on teenagers' brains. These shutdowns' negative effects on kids and teens, academically, socially, and otherwise, have been shown in numerous studies, and now the latest long-term effects appears to be accelerated aging of young brains. Once the shutdown was underway, we started to think about which brain measures would allow us to estimate what the pandemic lockdown had done to the brain. What did it mean for our teens to be at home rather than in social groups, not at school, not playing sports, not hanging out? By the way, remember, they funded the fucking thing. They admitted this in the government a few months ago when they released the Puff Daddy video. They destroyed our lives with our money. They funded that place. It's not a fucking theory anymore. It's fact-checked. The lifestyle changes due to the shutdown appear to have affected brain development during adolescence, causing the brain to mature much faster than is typical. This accelerated maturation was more widespread than throughout the brain and larger in magnitude for females as compared to males. On average, the young female brains aged 4.2 years faster than normal, and male brains were accelerated by 1.4. The researchers believe that accelerated brain aging was due to the stress associated with the restrictive measures taken during the shutdown, right? So basically the stress aged them, as it did most of us. I never had more gray hair and white hair in my life than after that. So Diddy is just like, I mean, he's fucking finished, bro. He just got a default judgment for $100 million yesterday, and today he's being sued again by former bandmate who claims the music mogul terrorized and sexually abused her while she also witnessed him savagely beating his ex, Cassie. According to the suit obtained by TMZ, Dawn Richards says she got caught in Diddy's web as a participant on his 2004 MTV show Making the Band, with the Bad Boy CEO manipulating her by promising to advance her singing career if she relented to his alleged twisted demands. The former Danny D. Kane member said during onset auditions, Diddy called female contestants fat, ugly bitches, and hoes. She said Diddy had particular disdain for her because she was young and excited to work with such a famous person. In 2005, the court docs say Richards saw another of Diddy's former girlfriends, Kim Porter, crying as she left the music studio with her face all banged up. It was then Richards says she realized Diddy was capable of violence and her life could be in danger. A year later, Richard was present when Diddy was first introduced to Cassie, invading her space while transfixed on her in a predatory fashion, according to the docs. In 2009, she says she personally witnessed Diddy, high on drugs, throw Cassie against the wall, choke her, and drag her up a flight of stairs in his LA home. And I believe her because we all saw the video. But this was the best distraction when they were admitting on record that they funded, certain agencies funded the fucking illness that shut the world down, destroyed your lives, took your family, took your freedom, destroyed your businesses, matured your teens' brains. We were more worried about Diddy than getting justice for our dead. Because we have TikTok brain. We've already forgotten them. The tombstones haven't even settled in place yet. This only happened a few years ago. I don't feel bad for us. I really don't. If we're that fucking stupid, we deserve what comes next. This is how pandemics start. Scientists issue warning after frightening development in Missouri, or worrying development in the bird flu outbreak occurred last week in Missouri. For the first time, a patient was diagnosed with the virus who had not come into contact with sick birds. I wonder if all that shit they're spraying in the fucking air. I wonder, man. I really wonder. Aerosolized, or whatever the fuck you say that word. The worst case scenario is that the patient caught it from another person and that virus has begun silently spreading between Americans. Right on time. Right on time. Right before November, huh? Other things that can kill you. 4th case of dangerous mosquito-borne virus confirmed in Massachusetts, reported by The Hill. A 4th case of the dangerous mosquito-borne illness was confirmed in Massachusetts. A man in his 50s contracted Eastern equine encephalitis. The Massachusetts Department of Public Health announced. The man lives in Middlesex County. This year's EE season has been particularly active, is generating a lot of concern in communities across Massachusetts. With the weather forecast showing warm, sunny weather for the rest of the week, we recommend that people take necessary precautions in areas of elevated risk. I guess for the first time, I'm looking forward to winter, I guess. Can't get here fast enough. And I hate winter, but I'll take it right now. Black enrollment dropped in Harvard's freshman class after Supreme Court ruling, reported by The Hill. Harvard University released racial and ethnic data that showed a decrease in how many black students the school admitted into its newly enrolled freshman class, the first to be affected by the Supreme Court's 2023 decision that struck down affirmative action. A decrease of 4 percentage points from the incoming class of 2027. We have worked very hard for many decades to ensure the students from every background come to Harvard and make a difference to their fellow classmates, the nation, and the world. We will continue to fulfill our mission even as we continue to follow the law with great care, said William R. Fitzsimmons, Dean of Admissions. There was also a 1-point decrease in those who identified as Native American. There was no shift to the 37% of students identifying as Asian American or the 1% identifying as Native Hawaiian or other. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology also pinned decreased diversity in its incoming class. So understand, using affirmative action, they would guarantee a certain amount of slots for people of color, not based on if they were outperforming people of other races. You know, but obviously I would love to have as many black people in there as possible. What do you think about that? Make sure you check out the channel, folks. Stay tuned here. Check out my X account. There's so much happening all the time. This is your boy, Beck Lover. And I just hope that, you have a wonderful day wherever you are. Just know that your support is so appreciated. And I do have a lot more content coming. I promise you. It will be coming soon. I'll be doing interviews. I'm already starting to book guests. And I will have another channel completely dedicated to that. Until then, I want to thank you, my friends, for being wonderful. This is your boy, Beck Lover. And you're watching the Interesting Times podcast right here on the Beck Lover podcast. Till the next time, my friends, remember, we live in an interesting world.